So welcome. Welcome to the first gathering, Earth Nouveau gathering in 2024. And we're all super, super excited. And why, we will obviously start elaborating in a minute because we don't really know. I think it's one of those things, we're just excited and it's just a sense of excitement. And our topic today is less is more, less is best. And I would like to start it off with reading something from this lovely book here. Can you see it? Or is the other way around?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my recent last trip, I went to Peru and I was reminded of the lightness of being. One of the shamans I was working with, I had a beautiful 5D experience, what I would like to call a 5D experience. Some would probably call it a heart opening, but I'd like to call it a 5D experience, really feeling the connection, all of that. And he reminded me of the hummingbird energy, the lightness of being. And that is also something that triggered that less is best lightness, you know, getting rid of our identity and getting back into our joy and everything. And I bought the Sacred Andean codes from Marcela Lobos. And she's actually got, hold on a second, 42, I think it was. She has 2 pages of the hummingbird medicine. And I think that hummingbird medicine is such a beautiful medicine. I think we can apply it to the entire year. Purely because many of us have done so much work before. So much work of taking responsibility and all of that. And now it's really a matter of how can we use the sovereignty and the sacred neutrality that we've been building upon to really go into that joyfulness and that lightness of being, that hummingbird medicine. So the hummingbird is associated with the individual soul's journey through this lifetime and with the neocortex, the complex brain structure that commands our higher functions, including sensory perception and cognition. It is also the part of the brain associated with language, as well as creative and artistic thinking and altruism. The hummingbird correlates with the solar plexus chakra, the energy center that is located at the pit of the stomach, and is associated with the element of fire and personal willpower. We access this power through a combination of clear intention and dedicated action. It becomes a gateway to creative living. This is the space of mastery, and the hummingbird shows us that mastery comes from generating fruitful possibilities. In its pursuit of flowers, colors, and nectar, the hummingbird inspires us to look for beauty and to create beauty around us. It helps us remember that which is sweet and easy about life, which is especially important in times when we are subject to depressive thinking or when we think of ourselves as nothing more than powerless victims. The hummingbird, which is all about swift movement and fresh energy, encourages us to lighten up. After all, we didn't come here to suffer and complain. We came here to find the nectar of life. Working with a sacred totem, our instinct is reset, so our focus becomes joy and levity rather than problems and conflict. With its swiftness, the hummingbird steers us away from reactive behaviors that might cause us to create more burdens and danger and help us to perceive opportunities for harmony amid the most perilous crisis. With its ability to migrate hundreds of miles to find warmth, flower, and nectar, this beautiful little bird accomplishes the impossible journey. As the smallest bird in the world, it doesn't stop to think, my wings are too small or there are no flowers to suck over the sea. It simply migrates towards the abundance that it knows exists. In this way, the hummingbird invites us to transcend our excuses for why we cannot live our dreams. My children are too young. My job wouldn't allow it. My husband needs me at home. I need more money. Rather, It invites us into a more creative and life-affirming way of being in the world. It encourages us to say yes to our own epic possibilities, to do what it takes to embody our calling and passion for life. In indigenous tribes across the Americas, the hummingbird is a sacred being that symbolizes vibrancy, vitality, ability, flexibility, speed, efficacy, and messages from the spirit realms. I had a clear experience of these years ago when I was dealing with a conflict with one of my friends. Although I loved her dearly, she tended to push my boundaries frequently and to feel entitled to my time and space. I felt overwhelmed and disrespected, but I didn't know how to confront the situation. On one occasion, as I was pondering what to do, a hummingbird crashed into my window. I thought nothing of it at the time, and I certainly didn't imagine it was a message from the spirit realms. Sometimes, in the words of Sigmund Freud, a cigar is just a cigar. However, the next day, another hummingbird crashed into my window, and I found that quite strange. Later that week, I stepped out of my car and I found a dead hummingbird at my feet. With so many consecutive wounded hummingbirds, I realized that my own hummingbird archetype was attempting to make me more aware of my emotional porosity, sending me a message that my friend was overstepping my boundaries. I could feel that my incapacity to respond was debilitating to me, and that my hummingbird had been taking the hit for me. At this point, grateful to my hummingbird, I found the courage to set my boundaries in this relationship so I would not have my life force sucked dry and would return to my vitality. So that was just an example of that she was giving as she was working with that hummingbird. But the focus really is all about on that joy, on that finding that nectar, finding that color. And the way I summarized it in my experience was, and the Peruvian hummingbirds, they're actually quite big. They're not as tiny, but it's like, go find your color, go find your nectar, find your sweetness, suck as much as you want to get the fuck out of. That was my, very simple translation of the hummingbird medicine. But, how do you perceive that in this new year, in this 2024?
I love that a lot. Like, to me, like, I feel like a hummingbird because I have, like, I guess, like a higher goal. Like, I haven't had a vision for the longest time, like a dream or a goal or something to shoot towards. But like, now that I have it, like, I feel this lightness throughout my entire life now because, like, I actually have that higher goal that, like, I actually want to, like, every day I have something excited to wake up for, and like that's been missing in my life. And now that I have it, I feel like I'm flying like the hummingbird for this time in a long time. So
Beautiful.
yeah, I don't know. It's something about having that like higher like dream or goal. Like it's just so much more expansive, and everything I do is like I can be more in the moment because it's not like because a lot of times I'd be like, spending time with my partner, the kids, or whatever, and like I'm always thinking about like, well, what can I do to do this? But now it's like I'm more in the moment because I have that higher goal already like in my sight, in my vision, But yeah, it's beautiful.
And isn't that fascinating? You talk about more expansiveness, much bigger possibilities, much more clarity, and at the same time, there is that lessness in that more is actually less. And that is such a lovely way of looking at it, isn't it? The more expansive we become, the bigger our perception becomes, our level of awareness becomes, the less we actually need to do.
Yeah,
I find it I find it absolutely fascinating, the less is more thing, because end of 2022 I decided to feel light. So I was on the yoga retreat and I received it was completed and we received one of these collars, of these Buddhist collars. And so I said, when I put it on, I want to feel light. And this was my journey through 2023 of feeling light and also losing weight and also just noticing how much less you actually need to sustain yourself. But you have to convince your mind about it, you see? And then suddenly you stand in front of all these things. You're like, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And you just like feel so much more of not needing it, you know? So this is like fascinating of this less is more. And just recently, also the last 2 weeks, I was on leave. And I was at home with family and I spent time in the snow with my godchildren. And I didn't have time at all. And I also took a break from my normal breath work and also from my yoga and everything. This morning and also yesterday, I'm back to the treadmill, let's say. And you know what? I have found out that again, by not doing anything during 2 weeks, I was able to actually hold my breath for 1 minute and 30 seconds without a problem. I could sit for 25 minutes without my legs, you know, getting tired and having ants or falling asleep, you know. And I was like, it's always, I noticed that all the time, that when you're not doing anything and then suddenly you take it up again, it's like, it's easier. You're going through it easier instead of like, you know, you're trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and you don't get there. And that is also the less is more thing about, you know, just do less and then suddenly it works. And it's fascinating, right?
It's absolutely fascinating. But what is that?
Did you notice, Sabrine, did you know, I said wrong your name, yeah?
Sandrine.
Okay. Sandrine, sorry. Did you notice that your vibration changed? You're not in the same vibration when you had to do more, that your vibration changed. Did you?
I guess so. I feel that I'm at another level. That's for sure. I mean, is it the lightness? Is it the feeling that, you know, I touched upon another frequency, just like you said. But I also recently heard about the fact that your neurons need 3 days to build new linkages. So when you're learning something new, instead of learning it, you know, like for 3 weeks or something like that, learn something new, then wait for 3 days and then pick it up again. Because apparently that's the time where the neurons need to build up, and then suddenly you are connected to that thing that you want to achieve. I mean, I'm really putting it in summary here, but that is what I heard recently. It was Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza, and Bob Thurman in a dialogue. So it was really interesting to listen to them.
I love how our modern science creating modern spells for brain or for anything else. And I immediately remember that observation changes outcome, and how easy today to create these modern spells for us to be in a new reality, new beliefs. So, and a lot of times it works on placebo effect, a lot of times. And then science kind of like confirming, actually. Science see it in tests, in scientific proofs, how it works. But if you look deeper, you can recognize that in ancient time, we were using another type of spells. Now, in modern time, we are using a different time to encode us to have particular experiences. Anyone see it?
Do you know what? This is perfect because, you know, I love that, because what we're saying here is the spell of adding meaning to something. And this is where, you know, this is where less, playing with the word less, meaningless, less meaning takes us out of resistance. It takes us out of having to build something in our minds, you know, a meaning that would give us certain results. If we take out the meaning, and this has been a big one for me, because for me, you know, I always need to have a meaning. What does that mean? What, you know, this and that. But this year, I'm super happy to look at meaningless, senseless, because what that does to me, it takes me out of identification. It takes me out of definition. It takes me out of all of that. And it adds that little bit of trickster energy, that like, oh yeah, let's just be different. Yeah, let's not have him, let's not make sense. And then it's like, whoa, makes a lot of sense to not make sense, right?
Exactly. And it gives you back your personal power, your flexibility, your tapping into possibilities, not what programmed for us as altogether as humanity maybe, but you can see further, more expanded, more into possibilities, what we are capable now, and recognize energies that flow in today around us and start to use it. At my recent workshop, I came to realization that actually very clicking with our talk in our group about embodying experience. Remember, we were talking not to leave this place and go somewhere, but bring that somewhere here and have that experience here in our body. So I came to this kind of like vision about experience what is possible today for humanity. Not just experience from logic of brain, but experience with vision, with that expansion. So this is what already around us. And this is what is giving us that doing less, giving us more. Because of vibration changed, possibilities changed for us.
And it's almost a necessity to do less of the old energy so that we can step into that, what, you know, those guys would, the Peruvians would talk about the condor or the eagle energy, that vision that is coupled with imagination. And, you know, I mean, it's only what, the 10s today, as we were talking about, but for me, it's like when you look around, what's on YouTube, what's even on Netflix or whatever, it seems to me that everything has just changed like that.
It's so empty.
It's
that so empty.
Yeah. That invites us, you know, to go inward. There is this reset energy, right? That less is best. But for some reason, it just feels like it, right? It feels right. I mean, we've been saying this for a long time, you know. I mean, one of the therapies, the Bowen technique, that when I learned that in 2005, their principle is less is best. Less is best. Just very gentle movements, you know, not to confuse the body and all of that. And that's when I heard that for the first time. And it made a lot of sense. It wasn't senseless. It was a lot of sense for me at the time to apply that to the work I was doing. But now it's almost like an emanation. No longer, I'm not just emulating it. It's become now like less is best. And it reflects itself in my food choices. it's like third time around, I went to the shops and I'm like, oh, come on. Yeah, Jody, yeah, bonus, very cool. Let's go and buy something. I just, there's nothing I need to buy. There's nothing I want to eat particularly. You know, it's like, what is going? It's so interesting. Do you find that too?
The only thing that I want all the time right now is tea. Like that warmth and that like just comfort that keeps me in my body. Outside of that, there's nothing else that I want.
I'm laughing so hard because I came back with a suitcase that was filled. Honestly, half of it was tea. All sorts of them, all sorts of them. And just to add, you know, it's like to add a little bit taste to my water. But actually, what I also learned is that when you're having tea, your body recognizes not as water, because water will flow through your body, but tea you will digest. So actually, what you're using as a tea, your body will digest it, the different components of it. So I was like, this adds, you know, like now I need to reflect on what tea am I going to have at what time. No, I mean, I'm joking, but you know, it's like, what do I want to digest now? You know, what is it that I want to ingest and to digest and get through my body? But I'm the same as you. Recently going through the supermarket, it's like, I don't need that. 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 No, I also don't want that. Why did I actually what do I need? Oh, eggs. Yes. Okay.
Amazing. Yeah. Jodie's also saying she's also got this obsession with tea. There's another thing that is really, really prominent for me at the moment. It's like, not just the food's one thing, but it's almost like I don't need to do anything. It's, you know, we talked about this before, that time and space and experience and light and energy, whatever you want to call it, is going through you, right? And it's your signature frequency. So let's use the analogy of the tea bag, in fact. Yeah. So consider yourself a tea bag. And all you need to do is pop in that cup and allow the water to come through. And as the water comes through, it is you, the essence, the signature frequency of who you are, that creates the tea. What's in that tea bag? All these, you know, amazing experiences over lifetimes and soul codes and, you know, vibrations, harmony, frequencies, that is creating your tea. And there's nothing you need to do other than just hang out in the teacup.
And you can be different tea bag at your desire, I would say. What you want to touch, what you want to bring into that tea bag as you are in each second, in each moment. Because like you said, we have all experiences already collected and available for us. This is a brand new world we are creating. It's not anything new we can discover now yet in our state, but combining those codes, combining those experiences in completely different combinations gives us today this new cup of tea each time, whenever you want, whenever you feel what kind of tea you want to drink. But now the question is how to stay in that vibration of being everything, how to stay in that vibration, because bombarding of everything around very strong. It's empty, but it's still demanding from you. Look at me, and you look at nothing to see there, empty. How to stay in that vibration?
You know, I hear that a lot. That, and obviously this is when you can't deny that there is turmoil and there's war and there's this and that. But for some reason, it doesn't really touch me. I can't feel it touches me for some reason. And I think this is not saying that, you know, that you're denying your level of awareness, but what if that is actually saying, I've done so much work along those lines, I don't have to choose it. If I don't like chamomile tea, I don't have to choose chamomile. And that comes from a place of, again, it's almost a hummingbird energy. It doesn't come from a place protection, or I have to put huge amounts of walls around me. It comes from this joyfulness. Hummingbird, this is the flower, this is the nectar I want, so I go to that and then I move on.
I love what you said before and what you are saying now. You said before you go inside to find what you are and what kind of reality you want to have around you. And what you said now, I'm not creating walls, I'm not protecting myself from that thing that is around bombarding, but at the same time, I'm recognizing it's not my reality, and this is not my reality. And you are today in state, everyone actually who can feel it, in state to bring around desirable environment, desirable reality around us. But my question again, what gives us that possibility not to become closed-hearted, still have our heart opened, but at the same time, not stepping into those not desirable realities and live through those not desirable realities, recognizing, yes, but not becoming part of those not desirable realities. What is that inside of us that giving us that possibility?
So who wants to take a stab on this one?
I think it's a little bit like if I'm comparing it to living in a big city and you coming into a place for the first time and you get to know the layout, you know, first you're just moving around your block and then you're venturing out a little bit more, and then suddenly you find out this way and that way. And I do believe that in the same, you can also work with this fact of the energies or the vibrations, that once you have found the way there, you can always find the way back there, in a sense. You understand? It's like you can take the big way, and then suddenly you have the shortcuts, and you can actually take the shortcuts to get there again.
It sounds like we have inside built-in compass that navigating us, if we are in touch with that compass that inside of us, to navigate through life and know what is I came here to experience.
But is it not more like also like the gravitational pull to things, you know, that
This is that
because
compass. This is that compass.
if you have your compass is being pulled to something, right? I mean,
exactly. That kind of experience that you recognize and you say, yeah, this is what I want. This is what I feel like. Even I don't understand why, but I feel I won't go there. And I don't want to go there. So what is that compass inside of us? What do you think?
Compass
that gives us the experience of doing less and receiving more.
So I would say, for me, the compass got blown out of the equation. The gravitational pull got blown out of the equation. And I feel, and of course not all the time, but I just feel totally connected to source, whatever source is. There is no, it's almost like we are starting to understand or emanate the oneness idea. It's like you are so connected. And of course, how do we get so connected? By letting go of the resistance that we are not. letting go of all the, again, identities and definitions, the less is more. The less we identify with something, the less we attach meaning to something, the more we start connecting to that oneness, to that source, to that God, to that whatever you want to call it. And instead of meaning, knowingness kicks in.
Exactly. So maybe that less that we now feel like connecting to this, doing less, thinking less, less. Maybe it's that less connected to what we already experienced and brought into this world and recognized till now. So now what you said, that connection to source, maybe we need to look where in our body, you know me, it's my thing, where in our body that place where we do have that connection to source constantly without effort, effortless, naturally in our type, how we build as human being coming here to have experience. What is making us be connected to that source naturally? What is that mechanism inside of us? So yeah, I'm talking about heart. And actually, Upanishads, it's 5,000 years old, 500 or 5,000 years old book from India, ancient India, where 108 people describe their experience finding what we are talking about, that place inside, energetic place inside of our heart that gives us 100% constant connection to source. And they all describe this is that excitement, that joy, that happiness that give them that experience, and having that experience, they would open that joy, excitement, and happiness. So it's built inside of us.
That's the compass for you that you're talking about.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I like that. And lots of people will find that very useful. I've always been a bit with this heart business, you know. I just can't just call it the heart, because for me it's a DNA thing, and that could be my little finger there. It's everywhere. It's the micro in the macro, the macro in the micro, and it's just everywhere. So I've realized one thing that works for me, because I looked at that. So what can I replace the heart connection? Because that for me is still separation. I can't do it. So I realized, let me just finish my thought here quickly.
Right.
And I realized I can call this experiencing the fifth dimension.
Exactly. This is actually it. It's not of this vibration, that energetic spot in our heart. But yeah, you completely totally right. It's so much given meanings and definitions to heart. It's so imprinted in us that we almost to the point of stop talking about heart. Don't even call it love. Don't even call it heart, because really it is not what we used to call these names, that place inside of organ as heart, organ. But you're totally right. It's emanating into everything that we are, and it's spreading through this physical as well, through blood, through vibration, through energy. So you're right. You can find that even here, even anywhere here, but there is a center where we can center our spirit, our being, our beingness. And then it is the more available that vibration for us. This time, it's just everywhere around you, because you found that way back to that center.
Yeah, it's just, you know, when I had this experience, I thought, okay, well, that's a heart opening, what people would say heart opening, right? And I thought, doesn't work for me. Why does it not work for me, you know? And I thought, well, it wasn't just the heart. Yeah, it was everything. But then I realized, having a chat with somebody, was like, oh, that was bringing the fifth dimension into the 3D environment. And that's how I can work it. And for me, that makes more sense for me, because it doesn't separate me from anything. It just makes me more acknowledging the multidimensionality that we have now, that we're bringing into that 3D craziness.
Exactly.
That's just one of them, because equally so, we are working the fourth, the elementals, you know, the fourth dimension and the first dimension, the second, and all of it. But that was just like this aha moments, like, okay, now I get it. That means I have just experienced that fifth dimension. So how can I stay there longer?
Exactly. This is the question. So as you know, guys, in our world 3D, we have dimensions. Yeah, some orienteers how we move here. So it plays big role where you centered, what you will see, what you will experience. And it's not denying you as physical being, as your choices, as your personality. On contrary, it's demanding from you to use those tools. But where you centered, this is what gives you possibility to have that vibration. And if you want to stay in that 5D vibration, you have to find that place inside of your body, physical body inside of your body. It's not outside, it's inside of you, where that emanation of that 5D naturally all the time present. And this is what I discovered through my researches, through my studying and everything. This is that space inside of, it's not even, but it is related to physical, because heart surgeons, they know there is some spot in the heart, physical heart, that they never touch. So there is some even physical connection to matter, to tissue, but there is an energetic place inside of our heart where that vibration of 5D, and even more expanded, 5D, it's only beginning of that experience, it's even more expanded, exist. If you center yourself, your spirit, your being in that spot, in that vibration, then everything around you completely different. You are in that state when you don't need to do, you do less, but everything opening around you naturally.
Lovely
So
put. Yeah.
that 5D frequency and that feeling, I can hold that inside my home. Like that's what it feels like in my home, and I can hold that frequency in my home. It is when you go out and you have to do all the things that it starts to, I wouldn't say infiltrate, but it's more dense around you. And I like the visual now of like being the cup of tea, right? Because all I have to do is like hold that cup of tea around me, be the tea bag in it as I go out into the 3D world, because inside my home is my bubble of reality. And
Beautiful,
I
wonderful.
my body too, just like you do, Martina.
Well, and your home is obviously a reflection of your signature frequency. So you are allowing time and space and energy and magic and light to come through you and create through you. So it's almost like it doesn't take away responsibility for one moment, but it takes away the hardship, the having to do. It's like having to run after something to create it. It's like, no, just let time and space be flavored by who you are, so that you radiate out that vibration, and the radiance will then start attracting and creating. And this is that big energy, this, whoever can play with it and allow themselves to play with that total ease, joy, grace, compassion with the self first, that allows the bigger picture to evolve. Because how can we hold a vision? How can we use our imagination by being bogged down by all the meaning that this reality gives? It's like meaningless. That, for me, that what less is, that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys. What kind of less is that sticks out for you? For me, it would be meaningless, that you want to play with this year.
Can I add to what Jen said? I totally agree. And this is kind of like that experience when you find that connection to that 5D vibration inside of you, then you spread that vibration around you. And in your walls, it's easy to hold it and amplify it. But then, yes, totally agree with you. When you go out, everything bombarding you because it's not of that vibration around us most of the time. Because like we already discovered, everything around still want to survive and say, I have meaning, I'm meaningful. But yes, Martina, it is meaningless when you step into that vibration. It just doesn't have sense.
Yeah, but the thing is, you never go out. You see, what I'm saying is, it's coming through you. And as it's coming through you, whatever comes through you has to be a match of your signature frequency. So there can't be anything that doesn't match that comes through you, because it wouldn't connect. It wouldn't work. It's like having cold water for your tea bag. It's cold water, Schnooky. Everything around you is just cold water. It's not going to make you tea, because it doesn't even go in properly. It doesn't do anything.
Agreed 100%. But if you are a healer at your nature, you will see and recognize what is not of that vibration out there. You will see. It doesn't mean you will become that vibration. You will have that experience become your experience. But you will recognize, if you are a healer by nature, if you are expanded.
Okay. We recognize it, yeah? I'm not saying we're not recognizing it, because the more awareness we have, the more we will recognize it. And we're all healers here. But the thing is the same, because as a healer, your frequency will not attach to anything. The healer energy is pure radiance. So you just let it go through you. And you will change it by having your sovereignty and your sacred neutrality intact as the healer that you have become, that you change, transform the energies around you as they're coming through you, because you're source connected. Remember?
Agreed 100%. And this is a very high level of mastery.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
You walk around and you just shine, and everything just changing at you, looking at that stuff around. It's like a being saint walking on earth. They were in that state of very high level of mastery. I agreed 100%. Agreed. But what to do if something's still in your eye and you recognize that it can be in different state, I would say. Yeah, Jan.
Well, like I don't pick it up. It doesn't become part of me. Like I don't really let the density go through me. But as I go through it, there are times where there's no resistance and it parts like the Red Sea and I just go right through and I'm in that perfect frequency. But there are also times where I walk through and it's like trying to walk through like sludge, right? So you can just feel it around you that it's denser and there's more energy required to move through it without it coming.
Maybe in that moment, yeah, I hear. Maybe in that moment when it's kind like asking for your attention, maybe as healers, we can do something. Maybe, you know, say your thank you very much for that kind of experience. It's not to be part of Earth anymore, or, you know, like do your healing thing. Like we work with people who come to you. Maybe those situations, those vibrations coming to us, just asking us, you know, heal me, please. Not changing your vibration, not becoming that, but still having your vibration going, that 5D vibration, but act as the healer.
That takes me back to the hummingbird. Yeah. The hummingbird goes where the nectar is. And that doesn't mean that the hummingbird just goes to, you know, we can still go somewhere to an energy that requires healing, that has an openness to be transformed by our signature frequency. Now, if there is that backlash that you're perceiving, then that's your signal to get the fuck out.
Yeah, so like
And that's it.
Not everything needs to be transmuted. Not every, like, there are a lot of things that you can look at and you say that's not my place, you know, and so those you just move away from.
That's right.
And maybe sometimes it just requires us to witness it.
Yeah.
Right. And to be aware of that dichotomy between, okay, here I am standing in my own field of energy, connected to source, and that's all I need in this moment. But then witnessing, you know, this dichotomy of people running around and wanting things and, you know, needing things. I mean, I just think about like going into Costco and what a crazy like experience that can be, right? With people like shoving their carts and, you know, getting in your way and, you know, like moving through that energy space, you know, whether it be like a city or a grocery store or, you know, and being a witness. And it's almost like that unentangled observer energy where you don't have to engage with it, right? Maybe you're just there to recognize it and witness it and say, okay, look at the gravity of how everyone around me is being affected, right? I think that this energy of the global narrative is really strong right now, and it's almost like cranked up to 11, right? Because they don't want us to be in this fifth dimensional high frequency space, right? It's like this energy of control it's palpable. You can taste it, you can feel it. And I just really, you know, I've been witnessing this with this, you know, holiday shopping season, like being in stores and, oh my God, there's a sale. And all of a sudden everybody's mobbing in this one place. And do you need to do that? No, but the energy, it's strong. It can sweep you up and it can take you away. This more, I need it, I want it. You know, one of the most popular songs right now here in the US is a song called Drums by James Hype and Kim Petras. And it goes, the less you give to me, the more I want it. Right. So this is, you know, in like the top 20 songs in the US right now. So this energy of oh no, I'm not going to give you something. I'm going to withhold something and then you want it more. Right. That energy is playing out a lot in this sort of like lower frequency realm. So it's just been fascinating to sort of witness.
And I really love that for throwing that in, Tanya, because I think witness is one of our healer qualities. especially when it comes to the lower frequencies. Know when to be the witness, the observer, and know when to be actively creating with whoever wants to, you know? So
And
that,
I think it has to do too, like with the way we use our energy, right? It's like when I first started doing healing work, I wanted to heal everyone, right? And not everyone wants that. Not everyone wants it. Not everyone needs it. You know, people are on their own journey. Sometimes you just need to take a step back, right? And those small, subtle movements are the ones the most powerful, right? That create that ripple in the pond. Yeah.
less is best.
So beautiful. I love it so much. In my way, how I'm going to that mastery, you know, just walking around and not to be bugged or activated by any energy that is not in harmony with my inner space. I'm still using these affirmations, not affirmations, statements. I would say statements. When I see something that is vibration, not what Mother Earth showing with her beauty, with her prosperity, with her abundance, when I see and don't recognize that energy, man-made energy around me, I do say, thank you very much. I do not agree with that experience to be part of my experience, to be part of Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is not showing that. If you look at nature, there is nothing in nature that you want to deny. Everything is perfect, everything is wonderful, everything is beautiful. So if I recognize around me something that is not that, I would say, so in my way coming to that mastery, just be, I'm still using my statements just to make some kind of message, sending message from me as human being that is part of this transition period, that yes, I want, like Mother Earth, beautiful things around me, wonderful things around me, and I don't want that. This is my way, how I do it.
I think that I am fortification of the I am avatar is an ongoing process. You know, we're always fluctuating between those dimensional vibrations. You know, we get involved in 3D because that's where we live, right? So we can't deny that, as you guys are saying, and then we go into 5D, 60, 70, whatever. But this is like bringing it all together and weaving that web, you know. And obviously realizing that we have this great opportunity to go into singularity when we go into dream time. And I think this is another thing. The dream time is really a time where we can play, where we can, you know, not let it rip, because, you know, there's equally so all these dreamtime societies and cities we are visiting have different layers, you know, of frequency levels as well. So we have to be aware of that too. But that is something where we can really play and work with our hummingbird or the eagle or the condor energies and all of that.
And I do want that vibration of 5D become a fabric of our existence here on Earth in our physical bodies. I do want. So this is kind of like my desire.
Yeah, and it will eventually, you know, the less we you see, this is again where I'm bringing in the multidimensional choices and the celestial medium journey that's really coming up for us, because that sacred neutrality and that level of shape shifting that is required to be a celestial medium, you know, and be able to go back into the trenches, go back into and filter the lost souls from very low frequency places and bring them back. So we have to be able to, you know, adapt our frequency continuously depending on what choices we are making. And then, of course, you know, what I'm really looking forward the next couple of years is preparing ourselves and this environment for galactic citizenship. I mean, this is something that, you know, my journey in Peru has very much given me clarity that this is my next level of exploration. And I've done a lot of work along those lines. We all have done a lot of work along those lines. And we're all here to become those beacons of light. So it's almost like it's no longer, I'm sensing that less is more. It's no longer about us, what we want. It's really about stepping into service and having clarity of the purpose or the many pies that we have being here. And just being whatever we need to be in order to facilitate whatever needs facilitating. And that is including Earth, that is including other planets, that is including the species that are coming in, the chaos, and all of that.
I think it's, you know, interesting walking this journey of life, right? Thinking about how do we hold that higher frequency space, right, for ourselves continually, but also for Earth, for those around us. I think what I found to be really effective, right? First of all, it's been really, really difficult to get grounded. I think, you know, when we talk about connecting to the divine blueprint heart of Earth Mother, there's almost like a thick energetic layer that's really difficult to pierce through, that's holding most of the world in a lower frequency energy. So if you can pierce through that, I'm calling it a shit biscuit because it really is like a, yeah, it's tough.
Only through
It's
nature.
tough, but
Only through nature.
creating those energy pathways, opening up the Earth Star chakra below our feet, right? Connecting that to the Soul Star chakra and opening up that fifth dimensional blueprint, then we can hold our own space in that way. And then hold a secondary energetic bubble, right? For people to come in and heal and connect with that vibrational energy, right? It's like when we stand in our center, you know, whether you want to call it the heart center or the center of the DNA or the center of the blueprint, it's it allows us to work like that pebble in the pond, right? To share that energy to everyone around us. And that is, you know, I think about this scene from the movie The Queen of the Damned, which is one of the Vampire Lestat movies. And all the vampires are at this concert, and there's humans, you know, just dancing their pants off, you know, to this vampire concert. And when you look out into the crowd, all the vampires are standing really still, and the people are just moving like crazy all around it, and the vampires are just like, oh, you know, just watching this vampire on stage singing, and it's just such a fun scene, and holding that energy, right? That energy of like stillness, of quiet, of radiating light out around you, right? Of being able to meet people and see people where they are, right? And holding space for them to evolve in the way they need to, right? Not like we said before, not everybody's transitioning into this higher frequency. Some people are, you know, spinning down into the center of the galaxy in this lower timeline. And that's okay, right? Maybe they don't know they have a choice, and that's okay too, right? Not everybody's gonna ride this bus, ride in the bus with us, yeah, into this higher frequency. But
I would say not everyone will take this route. Maybe someone want to go different route.
It seems to me at the moment it's like musical chairs. So, like we're just jumping around, which timeline, are we going to choose at the end of the day, jump from one to the next and to the other, that kind of thing. And that can be quite fun, isn't it? It's that lightness of perception that I think, the hummingbird brings in, that energy of just lightness. And the other thing is what I've been reconnected with or reminded of when I was in Peru was we are not in this alone. And yes, we have, communities like that, but that connection, there was one moment where I had this deep sense of loneliness. I have no playmates. The mountain showed me that expanded space. And I went straight into, I haven't got, people around me, that kind of thing. And the mountain just said, hey, stop, tranquilo. So take it to the next level. Look at it from a bigger perspective. And as I looked at it from a bigger perspective, I realized I was not allowing myself to connect to the mountain and to the river and to the stars and to the animals and to the grass. And, there is this sometimes that human focus. I need a relationship that supports my journey, or a community, or a tribe, a like-minded tribe. And the Peruvian shamans have this tremendous beauty in their hearts to open themselves up, to everything. I mean, the entire Inca civilization, Machu Picchu, everything has been built literally in the what do you call it? Looking like the Milky Way. Everything there is connected, and that was just like, wow, that bigger connection. And that's why, as above, so below, as Sandrine says, and that's what they literally have done. They built their temples, they built their terraces based on the various signs and symbols up in the stars. And less is best, less is more. The less we go into this little human idea reality that is so limited and distorted, and as soon as you open it up, it's just like, whoa, everything comes together. That male and that female that we're so hung up about, it just all comes together, and it just intermingles, and it just flows, and everything gets blown out just like that. And the softness, there was another thing, I was facilitated by this one shaman who facilitated that opening for me, and the softness of his touch, just touching me here or here, and then blowing in my face, and just using a little flower, to that male energy full of love and support, nurturing my female. Amazing.
Yes.
It was that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was just totally blew me open, that gentleness. And all he said to me, he said, they called us mummy and puppy, it's a weird, but anyway, because mummy, it was never yours. It was never yours. But there was this ancient depth to that deep-seated sadness that I was carrying in the heart. And it was the mountain who kicked it off for me. When I looked at the mountain, there was a symbol. I don't know, it looked a bit like a heart, and there was a division. And I thought, okay, heart. Okay. I thought, okay, what's going on with Paul? Fuck you, Paul. And the mountain said, whoa. That's not about that. And I'm like, okay, thank you. So I just opened it up, and that's what it really was.
So beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
A bit. Oh,
Yeah, Alfredo.
oh I was just waiting, but yeah, no, I've been I've been making it a point to like just run out into nature, you know, because I know my life is always the city life. I'm just caught up in city energies, like the collective energies, like the, you know, the rush around, bustle, whatever. But like, it's like the adventure, you know, like I need adventure in nature. Like I'm in this brand new city I've never really explored, and like I'm just making it a point every week, one day a week, I at least go on some kind of exploration adventure. Like yesterday, I was at Lake Georgetown. I freaking love Georgetown. It's just the most magical place I haven't been till now. But it's just like you said, the openness of nature. Just like this is where I create joy with nature. You know, just have my little moments in nature. I went to this park yesterday, and it's like there was no one there. It was just me. Like it was so. Normally, it'd be like, oh, it's just eerie. Nobody's here. But like, no, I loved it. It was just me and nature. That's it. I didn't run into a single person that was there. It's just me in this vast open lake, vast open land. Nobody. I just make it a point to anchor in like just glorious nature energy with me. Just express myself, sing, just run my mouth, whatever. Just co-creating joy with nature, and like having that little day to anchor that energy in within myself that I can carry throughout my life everywhere I go. You know, especially at work, like because I know energy is. I'll say I probably live the busiest life around people here because I know this retail scenario, but like I don't know, just having this joy and excitement, it overrides and all the other stuff, you know, because people see my joy and excitement, like people are coming to me, ask me questions like, what are you doing, man? Like, how come you're so happy? How come there's like people are like asking me questions because they're seeing the reflection of myself, like my joy is coming out. And it's just overriding all this other nonsense or whatever it is, like stuff, you know. So like to me, the joy and excitement and optimism for the future, it outshines all this other stuff, you know, that's going on. But yeah, as long as I can maintain that, you know, excitement and joy within myself, it just outshines and overrides whatever dense realities around me, you know. That's it.
I love that. And that, you know, there's a meaninglessness in that again. The fullness and the meaninglessness as well. Because it's not like you don't even have to pick flowers and bring them home. That doesn't have to be meaning for you to be joyful in nature, other than you just being joyful in nature. You know, doesn't have to I don't know, have a certain outcome. Like when you come home, so what did you do today? Well, I had joy in nature. What the hell? What did you do? What did you bring home? What did you create? You know, no, it was just joyful in nature. That, you know.
Exactly. That's the most important thing to me right now, because it used to be like, oh, I need to be getting a job. I need to be, you know, building a business, and it like always in my mind about like these things I got to do. But it's like, no, man, I'm just excited about how I feel every day. I'm just excited about how I feel every day, and that's just my vision is so much more expanded. So like, it used to be all these negative thoughts. So I'd be coming in like, no, man, it's just like positive, like expansive thoughts. Like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. It's just like, I don't know, the positivity is just flooding in. It's just like, that's all I'm seeing. I'm just seeing the higher perspective now instead of like dwindling down in the lower perspectives, you know. But
And
it's helping me. Oh, go ahead, Irina.
Is doing less, what Alfredo describing, just being in that vibration, in that state, opening so much more possibilities around in which you can step and do something that you have to do, you need to do, because you are human. We are here in the doing state as well. And we all have obligations to this human experience that we're creating right now. So those possibilities naturally just opening for you. Just pay attention, and then you bring your happy state into anything you want to open, look in, participate with, whatever your choice will be.
Yeah.
So it's all practical. It's all practical.
It's very practical. but it's so senseless.
Yeah, meaningless. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
3D
This is paradox.
senseless.
Paradox.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
What other less comes with that?
Less worry.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Worry less.
Restless.
Restless. Did you say
Yes.
restless? Yeah.
And stressless. And
Stressless. Stressless.
also, it's like, why would you be stressed about things,
Yeah. Fearless.
Anyways, yeah.
Less is more.
Unless we
There's
are
a lot.
talking wool, then
Say again.
unless we're talking about wool, then there is no less wool.
Of course.
I have speaking of the hummingbirds, I have a hummingbird that lives in my backyard.
Ooh.
It's a little black chinned hummingbird, and he sits on my light wire that I have out in the back there. And I was outside on my deck this morning and heard him and saw him flying around. Right, there's the oranges here are ripening now, and some of the tree and my lemon tree has little blossoms that he's going for. So he's dancing, dancing around and moving the energy. Just really nice.
Amazing.
I was
Work.
amazed, went to visit my family in San Diego, and I was amazed at how many hummingbirds are there. I mean, you just hear them everywhere, little, yeah. So it's really, really beautiful to acknowledge.
Okay, Irina. Bye. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cheers. See you soon. See you next week. Hey. Thanks for being here. And do you know the other thing in Peru? They're much bigger, but they are. When you look at the flapping of their wings, they are like so fast, right? And it's almost like that also sort of reminds me of the speeding up of our frequencies, how everything is speeding up, how everything is getting faster. And at the same time, that oxymoron of, getting faster, and less is best. And, and it's just like the best way of turning everything upside down, flip it inside out, because this is really the energies, right? And allowing ourselves to lose everything, allowing ourselves to lose the old. And I think this is from my Access days. I mean, I still do this in the evenings. I just destroy and uncreate everything that my relationship with my body, my business, my partners, the people, my cats, everything, so that the next day I wake up and I start from scratch again. Whatever wants to be created can be created in a new way. Because the old way, and this is the other thing, the old way is not going to work anymore. If you are at a certain level of awareness, and this is where we have to, I think, just get honest with ourselves where we're at. If certain doors don't open, you can rest assured it's not your door. And that's where, choice then comes in. It's like, and the choice is a bit like the hummingbird flapping his wing. Choose this, choose this, choose this, choose something else, choose the next, choose the next, choose the next, and if you choose the same thing 50 times, well, then it's obviously something that, you want to look into. And I think the other thing, Jaka, Tanya?
Oh, well, I noticed, just sort of like reflecting, spending time with family, over the holiday. It's sometimes it takes a lot of decompression to move through, right? And there's always things that come up. But one of the things my sister was saying is that what was important to her, and I mean, I agree with this, is that she wanted to get away from giving each other things, right? And having experiences instead. And I think this is also one of the things that the younger
I love that.
generation is really more focused on, right? People aren't buying things, right? The younger kids, like Alfredo's generation and younger, right?
I love
All
that
the
so much.
things aren't as important, right? It's like that experience that brings the richness and the fun.
Yeah.
Those material things are too expensive anyways, and the inflation, money, whatever. Just go out and have an experience that the whole family can enjoy. And like, yeah, I love that so much, Tanya. But yes, that's great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, playing games together. We met here. It was obviously I was away. Paul came back. We all met here, obviously together. And Emma came with her boyfriend. It was like, okay, let's play a game. And it's very different to at least how I was brought up, or my sort of environment. We never used to play games with my parents. I would have never even, really wanted that, because there was such a rift between us in so many ways, so you're absolutely right. There's a totally rethinking, and it's like from one generation to the next. It's like what I said to Emma. I said, your children probably will not even know what a watch is. We're talking about watches, and time, and who wears a watch nowadays? Not that many people. You got your phone with you, and it's like, I said, yeah, buy watches, because that will be an investment. It will be something, it will be an antique in a couple of years' time. Nobody will know what a watch is anymore, and it goes so fast. Everything changes so quickly. And what better way of adapting to all of that than letting go of everything that you've ever known? Total out creation. And that is scary. Yes, it can be scary. It can be scary, but that safety net that you're wishing for when you think of letting go of everything is within yourself. Is within yourself. There's nothing outside of ourselves that can give us safety. Not a tribe, not a partner, not a, I don't know, nothing. Just inside. And I think lots of people saying, meditation is really, really important this year. And that may be the case, but also make it your own meditation. It doesn't have to be a meditation that you have been taught or anything. Just make it your own thing. It could be just a walk where you have a conversation with yourself, one of your, hubs of interconnectivity, one of your shards or anything. Just make it yourself, whatever that is. Just find that stillness. Allow yourself to be you, whatever that means. And as Alfredo says, the more you step into that shine, that radiance, people will recognize it very quickly. Not everyone will be able to receive it, that's for sure. But that's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not impacting on them. There's another little story when we were doing medicine, and I had certain experiences, and I was super, super excited, and I had a moment of where I thought, oh, let me go down there and just share. I started sharing, and it was like whoosh, the energy came in like this, yeah, like no. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I don't think I should be sharing. So I said, thanks very much. And I left. And I wasn't, I was in my radiance, and I was like, I couldn't care less, but I could perceive the energy. And there was this one guy the next day, he walked up to me and he said, thank you so much for what you said. And I'm like, okay, you're welcome. And even those that sent me the hand, that showed me the hand, the energetic hand, I know it impacted on them. And the reactions can be hurting, whatever you think, whatever you want to make meaning of it. But it's not about me. It's not about that. It's just about you being you. And then anyone can choose whatever they want to choose, right?
That's so funny. People are like, "Oh, I'm so happy to see you." And then you talk to them for a second, like, "Okay, instead of talking to you, bye, bye, bye." They're like rushing out of the way. It's like they got enough light to just shoot them up. Yeah. I don't know. That's funny. Go ahead, Sandrine.
No, it made me laugh. Because what Martina was saying, and I was reminded of what happened during our trip, where she always told me, stop getting entangled with everyone. But one afternoon when I was up on the mountain, I took one gondola up on my own because the kids were tired and they wanted to go back. And I just continued exploring. You know that on that moment, that half an hour where I was alone and I thought, okay, I'm alone. I have nobody around me, that everybody was just trying to connect with me, sitting in the gondola. Somebody needed a tissue, so I gave him the tissue. Up on the mountain, there was a couple that wanted to take the picture with this huge mask that says joy, and they had their ski sticks and the skis and whatever. And I was like, do you want me to take a picture of you? And then and then on the way back, there was the guy with the dog, and I was like, okay, I didn't want to get entangled with them, but they all wanted something from me, and I was like, okay, I give it to them.
Well, it speaks for your source connection, because this is just who you are. I've seen you in action, and this is just who you are. You are so beautifully connected that you never give your your core energy away. You just allow the energy to flow through you. And you're also quite aware of when you need the space, And this is the thing. I think, we're getting, if you can maintain that level of source connection, then you become that.
Yeah. Which is why on the discussion that we just had before, and Irina going with, always with the center and finding it in the body, I am actually not so sure that it is in the body. I mean, okay, there must be an anchorage somewhere where these things, where it is connected in the body because we want to have this experience in the body, but every cell has a membrane, and we are outside of that because we're not inside of it. So there must be, okay, maybe somewhere where we're hooking on, but I don't know if that is the thing that we should be recentering on. Which is probably also one of the problems I had always in meditation, getting this center. I can center myself and then sit in stillness, but the connection is not so much within myself. It's more like the connecting with what is around, the oneness in a sense, So for me, experiencing that meditation and also the oneness meditation, and then coming back into my body in a sense, that really helped me much more than finding it within me.
It's these things are very, finding the connection are very, very, the physical connection in the physical body are very good for healing outdated emotions or healing wounded emotions. It's a perfect way of doing that way. For me, my entire physicality is the grounding tool. And when I ground into the earth and up into the cosmos. I see myself as that standing sine wave of existence that grounds everything. So I can't make that distinction either. But having said that, whatever works, right, is perfect. And the also, you know, what we are obviously going through now is the recognition of conduit. Yeah, we are the conduit. I consider myself that, but we are merging our DNA with our light body DNA. You know, it's like, you know, all the chakras we were talking about, they're not in the body, they're outside in the etheric body, in the DNA, in the etheric DNA, but that's all. So it's all becoming a bit of a gray area. I mean, my experience I had in Peru also, I was told that I had no chakras anymore. Now, I had to look at that. I asked the questions, what does that mean? And for me, it's what I've come up until now was that we talked about this before, as the chakras are folding up, you know, the root goes into the crown, and the solar plexus and the heart come together, and the sacral goes into the throat. And as that, we then have a coherent, we're looking for a coherent connection between the brain, the throat, and the heart, connecting to the cosmic heart, to the cosmic mind. That's basically my way of looking at it, having that coherent. I have had that awareness too. Yeah. And I was talking, yeah, I can't look at it, but I think this is just that was part of one during my ceremony, that they just throw it in. Okay, you're gonna, and by the way, you got no chakras anymore. Is that okay? Cool, whatever that means. And then this particular guy I was talking to, you know, who came up to me, he was a walk-in too, because I mentioned that I was a walk-in. So he was like, okay, let's have a chat. And he told me that he was told that he didn't have chakras the way we have been studying them either. So just look out for that. But I think there's nothing, you know, my takeaway from this whole thing was that we just can't separate anything anymore, you know. Having said that, you know, for healing purposes or anything, then by all means you go back into that sort of, you know, compartmentalization, like male, female, all of that. But at some level of expanded awareness, it's just a less of definition, unless you want to hone into something in particular. But that's something to look into, you know, and yeah, it probably makes sense as we are merging into the light body DNA.
I always feel more comfortable when I'm doing when I was experimenting with different yogas, and there was one who did the Kundalini chakras, but in a more there are different traditions that are using different. It's the hum and the lam and the yum and
Lam, bam, ram, yeah. The sounds of the various.
I always felt more comfortable when I went through all of the chakras, you know, like in having everything, you know, aligned instead of just concentrating on one for a certain amount of time. I always felt much better when I had not the alignment, but in a sense, like I worked through all of them, because I found that the connection for me makes more sense to have it, all of them treated, you know, instead of just concentrating on one for a certain amount of time.
Mm. Same here, Alfredo. Yeah. No, I really think it's a good point. It's a good point to start looking at that. You know, when something doesn't resonate anymore, well, because something has changed, and then just see what that is for you. If I say I'm connecting my cosmic mind to my local projected mind, then that makes a lot of sense. I could even use the heart connection, you know, that kind of thing. But whatever works for you, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then Tanya, I mean, you're still working with clients, right?
Mm-hmm,
Have you started experiencing changes along those lines, or?
I mean, I think, you know, for me, I work as sort of like a coach to help people be embodied, right? To open up their energy centers and allow what's been holding in the body, right? I mean, it's amazing to me. Almost like everyone who comes to me has their earth star chakra and their root chakra closed down, right? And so I think you need to go, one, as a human, needs to go through a process of opening up those energy centers fully, right, before you can transcend through those energy centers. And one of the realizations that's been coming up for me is the way the human body connects, like through the Socratic system on a multidimensional level. It's almost like each level of awareness, right, or color of time, if you want to say it that way, is relatable to a dimensional energetic frequency and a plasma energy. So like the root chakra, right, has that sort of like ruby, scarlet, red, sparkly, call it like Dorothy's ruby slippers, sparkly red energy quality to it. You know, and that also is that place where you can connect down, right, and feel the heartbeat of Mother Earth, like up in your perineum. If you can feel that heartbeat of Mother Earth, yeah, then you're grounded. But most people aren't, you know, is from my experience. And it takes a lot of work on an individual basis to be able to transcend through that lower frequency energy to just be connected into that fifth dimensional blueprint energy. Wait, did that answer your questions? I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. There's so many
yeah.
roads that lead to Rome. Absolutely.
Right. So I see myself as sort of like a coach and a mentor, right? Helping people be in that energetic space that I try to hold for myself. And I've had the awareness of not having chakras per se, like the way that we've perceived it, right? I think it works in this energetic, multi-dimensional way that when you have an awareness and an openness, then you can connect to these layers of experience and reality that aren't available to you if you're not allowing those energy centers to be open and that, you know, energy of the source, right, which aligns with the heart of earth and it aligns with the heart of the sun and you know, that energy of oneness, right? It's expandable and it's contractible, but you are it's you. So with that perspective, then you can have a level of open awareness that you can't if you don't aren't coming from that sort of perspective, I think. But, you know, like you're saying, many roads lead to Rome. There's all different types of, you know, practices and ways that you can get there, right? Whether it be using your breath, right, to open up your body, or using meditation, or, you know, using exercise or yoga or being in nature, right? There's many different ways that we can connect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that because it's like, yeah, like I never really got into like going to like the individual chakras. I mean, I tried to, but like I always like felt like I was overcomplicating my whatever worked for me, you know, because for me it's just like connecting with the natural elements, just the basic fundamentals of just connecting, you know, reminding myself to let nature heal me, because like in my head I'm like, I gotta go to a massage therapist, I gotta, you know, I like this mind things. It's like, no, man, I'm just gonna let nature heal me, just the natural energies of nature, just connect with the land. Like when I'm at the lake, just putting my feet in the lake while I'm breathing in the sun and like connecting with the elements and doing my stretches and jumping up and down, dancing, and expressing myself, just letting all the energy. To me, it's like energy vortex. I just get the momentum going, you know, the natural momentum of the energy vortex that we are. That's the whole universe, omniverse, you know, the whole vortex system is just like the natural connections, you know. And the
And that's
simplified.
it, you know. I see,
Yeah.
you know, I see that energy channel almost like a like a tornado, right? Where you,
Yeah.
where when that tornado is spinning, then you can keep that vortex clear of energy debris, right? Whether it be like the energy of the wounded child that tries to come up, right? And that little 3-year-old saying, I want more, right? I need this, or feeling unworthy, right? I think like if we can keep that energy channel open and bring our light through us and bring the earth energy like up into the body, right? I think we start working as almost like this eye of the hurricane, right? Or like the image of the merry-go-round, right? When you're spinning a merry-go-round really quickly, when you're standing in the center, it's easy to like hold on, you're not moving as much. But if you're on the edge of that merry-go-round and it's spinning, right, it's easy to sort of fly off. So when we can hold that center place, right, and for Sandrine, that center place is different than the center place is perceived for me, right? I perceive it within the heart center. I think probably my philosophy is a little bit different than Irina's, but I think that heart is a portal, right? That opens us up to that greater sense of awareness, right? And everything is here. We don't need to go anywhere because everything is already here. So, I think understanding also the way that the light body builds in layers, right? That are connected to each of the, I don't know, I would say dimensional energies of dimensional reality. So that first layer really is that fifth dimensional energetic blueprint. And from my perspective, right, it starts at the soul star chakra and connects with the earth star chakra, which is a foot above the head, a foot below the feet, and forms this energetic sphere around you, right? That's like your little spaceship, your little travel vehicle. And if you can start holding that, then these other layers, start forming around you. And it's this like a wheel within a wheel within a wheel energetically, and there's not, you can read like the Upanishads and all kinds of different books, but nobody's given you the full picture, right? This is energy that you have to discover for yourself. So I think a lot of that teaching, a lot of the teachings were hidden within the mystery schools, but even in the mystery schools, they leave things out, right? Because there's this layer, again, getting back to the ship biscuit that's layered over earth, right? That doesn't want us to expand into this space that is our birthright and our nature as a human. I think looking at the DNA code, because when I work on people, I can see the DNA, right? I can see, oh, wait a minute, you have an ancestor, 4 generations back that's not crossed over, that's controlling your energy field. Okay, what are we going to do about him, right? So I think layers of DNA, I'll just show you a little picture because I think this is really, this is look at this little picture. I like to see this as sort of like a cross section of the DNA code. Like if you look at your double helix, each strand of your double helix or each side of your ladder, right? If you cut it, you're going to see a cross section with the ability to open up your 12-strand DNA. And some people have more. And what I see sometimes are some of those DNAs, especially people who have like Nephilim DNA bloodlines, are blacked out or clogged up, right? Not able to be activated. So they have to be like flushed and cleaned and cleared so that person can have the opportunity to activate that, 10 or 11 strand DNA, right? So there's step downs that have happened over this like process of evolution over the last 200,000 years that are keeping humans in a space of like a controlled environment. We know this, and this is part of our jobs as healers and as way showers and light workers, if you want to call us that, to transcend through that energy, right? To heal that energy within ourselves and then work like the pebble in the pond, sharing the possibility, right? That everybody can get there, should they choose to. I don't know if that was less or more, but
No. That was very good. Very good. Very true.
I saw Martina, if you click on me and make me a co-host, I was watching this TV show yesterday, and as soon as I saw your like lesser more, I saw this clip and it just cracked me up. So I just recorded it, and I'll share my screen and show you guys if
just tell me how I do this, because I only
oh no, I can do it. I can do it. Here we go.
Because if I go on participants, I have invite and copy. Yeah, you're good.
I'm good. So I'm just gonna, let's see, can I play this?
We can't hear it though. I can't hear it.
Oh, okay. I guess if you can't hear it, but she says, let's, it's this cop show, and this actress shadowing this cop, right, trying to like be like her, and she says, okay, let's take this cheating dirtbag down, and then the cop actually says, well, I usually just say, let's go. Because yeah, less is more. See, you're right. So I thought that's really funny.
Well, and it's actually, less is more. There is such a big message behind that, because, that energy of judgment and prejudice and bias, has so much loose emotional energy in it that can be siphoned off us, and used against us. I did post a lovely summary of luge. We've heard so much about it from, AB was talking about it quite a bit at some time, but that emotional energy that humans exude, that life force energy that can obviously go into the negative sort of frequencies when we play in the poo, but that life force, when we are in our joy, in our radiance, that's where we want to stay. So we're talking about spells before as well. Words are being spells. It's really, really important to stay in that sacred neutrality and choose our words wisely and stay away from definitions like that. Yeah.
I've been finding a lot of my clients are really stressed out about what's going on in the world. And I was saying to someone the other day, look, if it were 100 years ago, you would never know about this.
That's
right. You would be in your own bubble of energy. Maybe you get the news from a newspaper, that you got at your general store 2 weeks later, maybe. Right. So turn off the news, right? Be in your own energy. Is it directly affecting you? Right. I mean, is your house getting bombed? Probably not. Right. And sending, love and healing and holding space for that for Mother Earth and all of the people who are going through trauma. But you know what? If it wasn't within their lesson path, it would not be happening. Right. So, I think that's also like knowing what monkeys are in your circus and what aren't. Right. Being able to say, okay, wait, that I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't have to worry about that. right? It's not necessarily going to be resolved by me. I can hold space and send love and healing to Earth and humanity. But me worrying about that, it's just going to take me out of my own direct connection.
Yeah, and that requires what's called emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
and a redefinition of selfishness and a redefinition of compassion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and this is where it all comes back to intelligence and choice and an understanding of what the soul is actually experiencing, the soul journeys, you know, just a contemplation or just a allowance of, you know, looking at this lifetime from a long-term soul agenda, not making everything so small and conclusive. And, you know, so the more awareness, expansion of awareness we can have, the more these things will become clearer.
Yeah, I find myself this over the past, 6 months or so, really doing checks and balances on my own energetic system, really cleaning house in a way, and cleaning my own house and getting rid of stuff I need to get rid of, but in energetically, like, where are there still energy attachments? Where is there still energy harvesting, right? Going through energies from childhood and saying, okay, wait a minute, where did that energy get attached, right? That's still sometimes bubbling up in my energy field. Okay, look, I'm looking at the 4-year-old me, I'm looking at the 6-year-old, I'm looking at the 13-year-old, right? Looking at past relationships, right? How did those relationships energetically hook into me, right? Because is it someone, working through that person, right? That's energetically harvesting my energy, right? So just making sure to close those portals and close those loopholes, like what you were saying about the access consciousness, about clearing everything out every night and then starting fresh, right? But when we're living in this multi-dimensional space, we're also having to look at those disconnections from a multi-dimensional perspective, right? How did that 6-dimensional me, right, get entangled with a dark collective that's still continually harvesting my energy and pulling me into a dream time, right? So, there's that has gone on, right? And as our awareness, our dimensional awareness is connected to that level of responsibility, right? It's also important to look at, take that inventory, right? And of course, the new year is a great time to do that, right? Get started off on that good foot.
And to be honest, I think this entire 2024 is perfect for acknowledging our multidimensionality and the importance of energy. That yes, we have physical bodies, and yes, we need to be grounded to earth and everything, and everything starts in the energetic bodies. Everything is energy. This is where it all begins and at the end of the day ends. And I think this is probably a brilliant beginning for our Earth Nouveau year, going in with less is more. And I'm sure we will be bringing that up again as we go along in the next couple of weeks and months. And we're going to leave it at that. And I thank everyone for your contributions and for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Therefore, I'm so excited to carry on in ever evolving out creation. Mwah! I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye.
Bye. Cheers.